Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, as always, I let to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to Elder Tahar and the rest of the elders that are firmly pushing this truth. And as always, peace and blessings unto the elect. All right, so I wanted to do this lesson on what we were talking about at camp on Wednesday, which Europe being the bottomless pit. All right, when you read the book of Revelation, on the bottomless pit is mentioned. And the bottomless pit is dealing with Europe. So I'm going to start at Revelation 20:1. It says, "And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand," which, like I said, that bottomless pit is a representation of Europe. "And he laid hold on the dragon, the old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years," which that was the dragon, and that's dealing with the Roman Empire, and specifically the western half of the Roman Empire. Right, because the western half of the Roman Empire got taken down by Jake, and then Jake continued on with the Eastern Roman Empire, which was the Byzantine Empire, as scholars calls it, in the so-called Middle Ages or the so-called Dark Ages. You know, Jake was ruling Europe in the Dark Ages, right? Like Constantine, you got Saint Nick, you know, King James, etc. They were all Israelites, right? And we ruled Europe for a little bit over 1,000 years. Verse 3, "And cast him to the bottomless pit, and set him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed a little season." And we're in that season of Esau right now. You know, starting with the Spanish, or starting with the French. You know, they came over here to the New World, right, 1492, right, and going a little bit even earlier than that, right? Just a little bit earlier than that. You know, Esau started to establish, you know, dominance over the world, and we're in that little season right now. The 10 toes in the scriptures, right? The EU, right? The EU, NATO being headed by America. We're in that season right now, right? But the point being is the bottomless pit is dealing with Europe. So now let me get this to prove that the bottomless pit represents the land. All right, 2 Ezra 5:24. "And of all the lands of the whole world, thou hast chosen thee one pit, and of all the flowers thereof one lily." You see that? So we see how the scriptures is likening the land to a pit. See that? And also, when you look up the definition of a pit basically means a grave. You know, it's dead. And Europe is dead of natural resources. The only things that they have over there is, you know, natural gas and oil. And the natural gas and oil really only come from like 3 European countries, which would be Norway, it would be the Netherlands, and also it would be Britain. But that's it. Europe doesn't have anything. That's why Europe had to go and colonize, you know, different places like the Americas, right? Like Africa, like Asia, right? Because Europe doesn't have shit. And that goes back to the curse of Cain, which, Lord willing, I'm going to go into that as well in a different video. You know, Cain being Esau, because Cain is Esau in the reincarnation, right? This is Genesis chapter 4 and Genesis chapter 4, I'm going to start verse 10. It says, "And he said, What hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood cried unto me from the ground. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth." You see that? So, Cain, when you try to go till the ground, man, you're not going to prosper. All right, you're not going to prosper in your agricultural work. No, that's why you see, man, these fruits and vegetables nowadays, man, they don't got it. It's all GMO'd up, right? They got all these pesticides and stuff in it. Why? Because the Heavenly Father cursed Esau, and that's why Esau's land is completely depleted of natural resources, because he's cursed. The Most High cursed him, right? Because you take a look at Africa's map, of natural resources. You see how fruitful it look, right? You got diamonds, gold, all these different natural resources, right? That Africa holds. But then when you take a look at Europe, right? Look at this. Ain't not much you can do with this. Uranium, gas, oil, coals. Ain't nothing that you can do with this. It's dead. That's why the scriptures called it the pit, because it's totally dead. It says Europe has limited deposits of oil and natural gas, which are drilled for energy and fuel. Russia has some of the largest oil deposits on the planet, although most of them are in the remote Asian part of the country. Russia is also the world's largest exporter of natural gas, which I believe Russia, that's Eastern Europe, right? But the Western Europe is finished. It says Norway has significant oil deposits and is the world's second largest exporter of natural gas. The Netherlands and the United Kingdom are Europe's other major producers of natural gas. The United Kingdom's offshore facilities in the North Sea are Europe's second largest producer of oil, right? But you see, it says Europe has limited deposits of oil and natural gas. Limited. It doesn't have an abundant. It's limited. So that means what? They don't have a lot, such as Africa, right? Pick a spot. Pick a spot on Africa, right? They got everything. They have everything, the abundance of everything. That's why Esau had to go and colonize it, right? Let me go ahead and get this. Right? Why did Europeans want to colonize Africa in the 19th century? Since the only thing Europeans loved more than political power was increasing their trade. In the 1800s, European nations had a desire to get a lead to widespread imperialism in Africa. With the end of slavery in 1833, European interests in Africa shifted to seizing colonies. King Leopold of Belgium acquired a private country in Africa that was 95 times bigger than Belgium, and its purpose was to make money by taking out ivory and rubber. You see that? By taking ivory and rubber. And that came from Africa. Europe didn't have those things. It says European leaders then became aware of two things. Africa was contained with natural resources. Dang, Africa got natural resources over there. And a scramble of the richest could begin a war between European nations. You see that? Proving that they ain't have shit over there in Europe. It was completely dead. It was desolate. Why? Because the Heavenly Father cursed Esau, which is Cain. Got this little PowerPoint pulled up, right? It says during this time, many European countries expanded their empires by aggressively establishing colonies in Africa. Why? So that they could exploit and export Africa's resources. Raw materials like rubber, timber, diamonds, and gold were found in Africa. All those things were contained in Africa, but if you try to look it up for Europe ain't got none of that. Europe doesn't have any of that, and that's why Esau had to pillage, rape, rob, and pillage other nations' lands so that they can obtain it. Why do you think the U.S. just went over there to Uganda? I believe it was America, some European country, which I believe it was America. They just found all this gold in Uganda. And Uganda's in Africa, showing you that they're rich. They're rich in gold over there. And gold ain't nothing over there, right? Same with over here in America, right? Mind you, in the scriptures, America is known as what? The land of Ophir. King Solomon used to send his navy over here to get exotic things, exotic animals, right? Cocaine, which cocaine was only found over here, right? Cocaine is a American plant, which was found in mummies' bodies, in the bodies of mummies, right? Showing you that America was a real fruitful land before Esau came over here and destroyed it. America was very fruitful before Esau came over here to destroy it, right? Also King Solomon's gold mine, right? It was linked to ancient Peru. And Solomon had a lot of gold. He had a lot of gold. I know in the scriptures it says that everything that Solomon had was gold. It was nothing silver, gold. His gold mine was linked to America. Why is that? Well, with the ancient Peru. And that's why Esau took a lot of the indigenous Americans gold, silver, and different precious metals, because the indigenous Americans were rich in it. Let's go ahead and read this. Now I'm right here. It says there are numerous examples of colonialism throughout the world's history, as it was always present. For our purpose, we will use it to describe the process of European settlement and political and economic control over the Americas. Long story short, it was all about power. Europeans colonized the Americas to enhance their power and influence over the world, as well as their ease for hunger for gold, silver, and other precious metals. See that? So there was a lot of gold, silver, and precious metals over here. Like I said, and the Incas, which the Incans would be the tribe of Asher today, right? It would be the tribe of Asher today. They had an abundance of gold, and Esau came over here and stole it all. Why? Because they didn't have it. Right? When you do research on the Taino Indians, Esau was working the Taino Indians to death to make them look for gold. Because where Jake was at over here, Jake had a bunch of gold over here, in abundance. Right? And that's why Europe is the bottomless pit, because Europe don't got anything. See that? So Yahweh Ratazah, if you brothers and sisters were edified. So next time.